Hello! Oh. Can someone get me a booster seat? Hi. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I can't see over the table. Oh, hang on. One of the bees is coming with a booster seat, and another one just made me do squats. The squats aren't gonna make me grow taller. I cast float. That might help. Hold on. Oh. I made it. Okay. Phew. Thank you. The squats will help? I don't know about that. Let me fix the chat bubble first, because I just had to move you guys back over since I had you guys off to the side yesterday, so you're not perfectly centered. Okay, that's probably gonna be better. Hello everyone! Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's Dee Dee, also known as Chippy D. How's everybody doing? Welcome in! How are you? Did everyone have a good day? I started feeling like my cold was coming back, so I took today off, and I slept a ton. And then the rest of the time I played Persona 5, The Phantom X. Pretty solid for a gacha game. There's definitely moments where I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I can feel the gacha seeping in, but overall it's been pretty good. Otherwise, I've been great. I'm trying to think. Hi, Jacon! How'd United Fight go? My crew lost like every single round, which, I mean, it's no longer a shock. Alrighty, I'll get 10 squats going, and then I'm gonna open up the game. We're not gonna start right away. I wanted to check, because we unlocked, we did Chapter 1, then we unlocked Tea Party 1, and then there was like another mode we unlocked. I wanted to check the names so I could check to see if we should do that before Chapter 2. Probably, I imagine. So 1, 2, lost you? Not bad. That's respectable. Good job. Alright, 10 squats. Hold on. You can tell us all about Uma Musume while I do this Drakon. There we go. Let's see, what else have I been up to? I talked about it on Discord a bit, but I finally got an emulator working. I've been talking about, I'm like, you know what game I really want to play? Pokemon Crystal. So I got an emulator. I am debating doing a long stream on July 1st, because that's Canada Day here. Maybe we'll see how far we can get in Crystal in one go. Dun, 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 dun. It's like, I don't know if I would play it as like a whole series kind of thing. It feels like one of those games, I'll play it, it'll scratch the itch, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. It's not a gacha game, but also I've been playing too hard, and I feel like I haven't logged in today Like, I haven't booted up the game. You can tell I play too much gacha when I say, like, log in. I haven't booted it up today, and I'm like, no! I need to play multiple games at the same time. This is my life. I mean, visual novels you can kind of have going at the side. Especially since a lot of them have auto advance for the text. But then you're not really absorbing the story unless you have good auditory comprehension for Japanese, because I would dare say 99% of visual novels aren't dubbed, so. Welcome to the tea party for those who are not human. Are they a pet? Are they cat tea parties, pet? Is that what it is? I booted up UMINEKO to see what that third mode we unlocked is. Hang on. Come on. Don't be like that. Tea party, hit a tea party. Also known as blank, blank, blank. I got this, thank you. Our scenes unlocked are completing both an episode's main party and its respective tea party. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we do gotta do the witch's tea party before we start chapter 2. So that's okay. That's kind of what I figured. God. Woo! I can't remember who it was. There was someone at the end of last UMINEKO stream who was like, the tea party shouldn't take too long, and then it took like an hour and a half. And then another mode opened up, and it's like, who was it that said the tea party wasn't gonna take long? You liars. Like, I guess technically not liar, but also liar. It's like, congratulations, I will never trust you again. Oh my god. Okay. So UMINEKO, because of the sizing of it, I usually increase the size of my model, which is fine. But when it's TPD, I am massive! Rawr, Godzilla! Big! I take big steps down. Wow, wow, wow. Sorry, that's like an inside joke. There was like a, what is it, The Bride of Berserk, AMV? You guys should look that up. Iduna and I were addicted to that in college, and we watched it like religiously, and now we quote it. Who taught me that? What? Getting big? Trade secret. You will never know. Da 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 da. Don't worry, it's just forced perspective. There is a certain big Oshi, perhaps. You're right, Sana! God, her birthday just passed. And I'm happy to see people are still making fan art for her. But Aora, it was apparently is apparently a Sanalite as well, and I'm like, that makes perfect sense. Was so happy to see Aora drawing her in like a recent drawing stream. Sana's been graduated longer than she was in Hololive because she was only in Hololive for a year, but I still miss her. She's truly living her best life. Once in a blue moon, she sends a message from the depths of space. It's nice. Hang on. We need to get the audio, even though, it's just the seagulls right now. Caw. I still have, so I ordered the birthday merch for Sana because, they announced her graduation right after her birthday, so they extended the pre-order period for her birthday merch, and one of the things in the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the package, like the complete set you could get, that's the word, the set, was a plushie of the Sanalites, which is just a loaf of bread, but with doggle features, like the face and the paws and stuff like that. It's been on my bed for like the past 4 years. It's never leaving. It's never leaving. Alright, big stretch. Try and crack my back. Maybe not. I slept like too much today. I clearly needed it, but I slept too much, and now, like, it's like, oh, everything's sore. Alright. Welcome to the tea party of those who are not human. So I'm guessing this is Beatrice, and I know there's other witches. Like, I don't know the full lore extent of it, but from what I know, there's, like, a witch that looks like Satoko, and there's a witch that looks like, Rika from Higurashi. So I'm interested to see how that ends up, influencing the story, because as far as I know, Higurashi and UMINEKO aren't connected in any way. Like, they don't share the same universe. But this might be a case where it's like, Axel is supposed to be Reno from FF7, but in like a different universe, that kind of thing. Hi, Jambola! And hi, Sexu! Hello! You're just in time for the tea party. The totally not cursed, horrible tea party. What's the worst that could happen at a tea party for not humans? I mean, we're not human. I'm sure it'll be fine. Never mind, I take it back. Starting with a purple swirl is never good. Organ music also not very good in this situation. What sort of black tea shall I prepare next? She looks evil? Beatrice? Oh, she is. Allow me to display every refined tea that ever was and ever shall be. Oh, there she is. Rika, not Rika. Hello. Dried plum black tea. The kind that goes for 200 yen a pack. For 1,000 years I have been fond of black tea, but I did not know of such a thing. Well, I will never tire of living in this world. Bito, you don't have to display such hostility. Oh, that's right. Her nickname. I know the fandom calls her Beetle. I didn't know Beetle was her actual in-game nickname. And for those of you who are like, her name's Beatrice, why is it Beetle? Because in Japanese it's Beatorisu. Beato. I am just a wandering witch. I didn't come with the intention of violating the rules of your territory. Hostility? I bear nothing of the sort. I am just terribly concerned with seeing that the legendary witch, Lady Birkenstill, is well attended to. Birkenstill. You misunderstand. I am powerless. Before a witch such as you, who possesses the dreadful power to kill an individual 100 times, I am completely powerless. That a powerless lady witch like you possesses a power that none can approach is what is truly terrifying. After all, that great witch, Lady Lamba Delta, was dethroned by you alone. Lamba Delta, I think that's Satoko? Or like the one that looks like Satoko? I only won an endurance contest. She simply got tired. That is not what Lady Lamba Delta said, though. Too much humility can be unseemly, Lady Birkenstill. There she goes. That girl has a dreadful power. Power to kill an individual without fail. Oh, so she is just Cuckoo Hulin. She's got a one-shot guaranteed kill spell. I see. However, without fail does it exist in this world. No matter how many times you divide 1, you can never reach 0. That girl has the power to bring the odds of failure down to almost exactly 0. The power to give rise to almost perfect certainty. I hope I never have to fight such a terrifying witch again. However, you have the power to cause success without fail as long as the odds are not 0. Though you say without fail does it exist in this world, you possess an infallible power yourself. How very terrifying. The power to kill an individual endlessly. I think you're the more terrifying one. You jest! From your point of view, mine is but a trifling power. This is most certainly what one would call empty praise. Call it flattery to make up for the cost of staying here. I am a fleeing traveler who crosses the fragments, continually running from boredom. I simply came around because I heard you started something interesting. Have no doubt that I will choose to leave as soon as you are no longer interesting. I, Beatrice, am deeply and humbly delighted to have great Lady Birkenstill as an observer. And so, your impressions? Lamba Delta is terrifying because of her cruelty, but she's a girl I can understand. You do seem to be capable of affection, but I can't understand you at all. That makes you much more terrifying than her. I am fickle by nature. Do forgive me. Besides, I believe you also enjoy entrusting your fate to the roll of fickle dice, right, Lady Birkenstill? When I roll the dice, I have a roll I clearly want to get. Unlike you. You, on the other hand, never let the dice fall from your hand. So, whatever the roll might have been, you're never disappointed. Whatever roll the dice show you, you are satisfied without fail. In that sense, you far surpass me. You're one I really don't want to fight with. Inside of you, there's nothing but 0. That's why I can't win against you with my power. It's the worst compatibility. Perhaps Lampa Delta, on the other hand, has a good compatibility against you, since she would be able to kill your endless nature. Oh yes, witches truly are the best people to enjoy black tea with. One doesn't get bored. Then, I'm relieved. She's just teleporting all over the place for the heck of it, I guess. Boredom is the only poison that can kill me. So, don't kill me, okay? Lady Beatrice, endless witch. If such is your wish, I, Beatrice, shall show you an even better time. In that case, wouldn't it be best if I brought the next chessboard in right away? It seems the next hill would do more for you than another cup of black tea. Just wait for a moment. Something troublesome seems to have taken a liking to you. I don't like the way her eyes shifted and she started looking directly at us. I'd really like to lend you my power, but as you have heard, that girl's power and mine have a very bad compatibility. Unfortunate as that may be. But you really are pitiful, so I'll help you out just a bit. First of all, about that girl chessboard mentioned. It's not spinning though, so put 50 cents in your savings account instead of like a full dollar. First of all, about that girl. She does have the name Beatrice, but that doesn't necessarily mean she is one individual woman. Get what I mean? In other words, she's not some human. Her existence is a personification of the rules of this world. To beat her, you have to expose the rules of this world and unravel them. Perhaps this could be likened to learning the rules of chess by watching a game. First, take a good look at the chessboard. Then, learn the movement and rolls of the pieces. Then, look for the conditions required to win at her game. When you manage to reveal all these things, her heart will be exposed. After that, you can rip it apart or crush it as you please. I am being quite generous. In the past, when I had a human body, it took me 100 years to notice even this much. Is that a Higurashi mention? Is she really Rika then? Interesting. This is my meager farewell gift to you, the pitiful one captured by Bito. It's just like a spoon. A spoon can be used for more than just drinking soup. You can use it to dig through the prison you're locked in, or as a weapon to gouge the witch's eyes out. Of course, you can also use the spoon to continually sip the watery soup inside your eternal cell. Don't get the wrong idea. I have no intention of becoming your ally. I do feel empathy for you, but I won't help you. It's like I'm sitting in front of the television yelling at you on the other side, even though my voice won't reach you. So you understand that I am a witch, right? I intend to enjoy this endless tale that Bito is going to weave until I tire of it. But that alone won't hold my interest. That's why I'll lend you my power. It's all so that I don't get tired of this. I am the cruelest witch in the world. Whoever the opponent may be, I'll make them surrender with certainty. Even if it's Beatrice, the endless witch, okay? You are my game piece. Give it your best shot. I'll give you advice sometimes out of your sight. Don't bore me, okay? Interesting. So there's stuff happening behind the scenes here. Very interesting. Text editor Squirrel Lord. What lies beyond? Complete the first hidden tea party. Ooh! Intro screen's changed. Okay, okay. Here we go. Episode 2. Good morning. The Golden Witch eagerly awaits your arrival. Please do grant her that wish. When you're able to get a good rest and perfect your strategy, the witch expects a lot from you and is more than ready to launch an assault right from the start. I also look forward to seeing your strategy. The difficulty level is extreme. The witch intends to make you surrender all at once. Damn. Alright. So the episode 1 was quote-unquote standard, and now we're on extreme difficulty. Okay, great. What could possibly go wrong this time? The story is very obviously fictional and fantastic in nature. I don't know about that. Press F to doubt. George-sama, please look. They're so cute. Look. Oh, look at her. She's adorable. In high art, Shannon found a pair of hammerhead sharks swimming playfully in the tank and looked as excited as a grade schooler seeing an aquarium for the first time. Oh my god! Wait, the shirt says Tobitake! Wait, isn't that the guy from Higurashi? Isn't that the photographer guy that like claws his throat out or something? Yeah, they really are cute. Almost makes me want to eat them. I feel sorry for them. Did you know? I hear the Japanese are the only people in the world who go to aquariums and say how delicious everything looks. Is that so? I'm sure even Americans and Italians would want to eat these. No. I have no interest in eating sharks, thank you. Those clothes look good on you, really. Shannon clutched at her chest with both hands in embarrassment. She apparently felt like she was being made fun of for wearing clothes that she wasn't used to. Though George's face did show it, he'd actually said something so completely unexpected that it surprised even him. You killed your signature assignment, let's go! Ahmad is hello, yes, we finished the witch's tea party. We met Birkenstill, aka Rika, not Rika, and now we're on episode 2. And he was as embarrassed as Shannon on the inside. However, when he saw how embarrassed Shannon was, he started to imagine he was teasing a girl he liked. And instead of embarrassment, a ticklish amusement welled up in him. No, he wasn't just imagining it. He really was teasing the girl he liked. Before now, he wouldn't have expected to hear a line like that anywhere these days. Not even in a manga or something. In fact, if he'd seen another couple acting like this, his first instinct would be to start throwing rocks at them. George, my dude, what? Damn. I mean, even I have had moments where I've been like, oh my god, how dare this couple be in my presence when I am alone? But I've never been like, I should pick up a rock and chuck it at them. But even if someone were to start throwing rocks at us now, I'm sure they'd be no different from confetti to celebrate our relationship. Okay. Now I can't even remember those lonely days when I felt jealous of couples who were completely oblivious to their surroundings. To use an old-fashioned phrase, these really are rose-colored days I'm living in. I'm so entranced that I barely notice that massive tank in the world's largest aquarium anymore. Instead, all I see are the expressions flitting across Shannon's face as she plays with the fish. It's amazing, isn't it? It's my first time seeing a tank large enough for a whale to swim in. I heard this tank is the biggest selling point here, and that it's the biggest in the whole world. Is that so? That's amazing. It's really wonderful. It doesn't even look like a tank at all, more like they sliced off a part of the sea with a knife and brought it here. You're right. This really is a little sea. Despite its size, I hadn't thought of the tank as anything more than a tank. That's why I found her metaphor so interesting. No matter how far humans broaden their experiences, they always end up viewing the world through the lens of their own values. Maybe that's why it's so interesting to interact with people who have different worldviews. I voiced my thoughts on this. She responded. True, this may not be the real sea. But if those little guys swimming in there believe it's the sea, then that's what it is. Even though they're inside a finite tank, the sea is finite too. Then again, even if the sea were infinite, how much could we cover in our whole lives? I'm sure it'd be only a minuscule fraction of the sea. You're right. It's ironic, isn't it? Even though the world is so vast, most of us humans live our lives without ever leaving our own country. If the inhabitants of a place believe they're living in a complete world, then even the bottom of a narrow well can be a wonderful world, an entire ocean. At least, to the frogs that live there. Shannon, who spent her days as a servant on a small island 10 kilometers in circumference called Rokenjima, said that with a smile. But the good times can't last forever. Turn of the Golden Witch. Here we go! Ba, 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 ba. Do, 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 do. Kinzo Krauseva, the parents. And just Beatrice. Just Beatrice on her own. No surname. Wonder what all the shots of like tourist locations have to do with this particular chapter. After we finished walking through the whole aquarium, we had a small late afternoon lunch at a restaurant with a nice view. The word buffet has the power to make any boy's heart leap. I was like that myself once. But with Shannon beside me, this buffet felt different. The very normal-looking guy in a t-shirt, right? I do appreciate that, like, to get around budgetary constraints, they just used real photos, but they pixelated and blurred everything enough. I couldn't shamefully pile on only the things I liked. It was, how should I put it? Worried about my appearance and chose a menu suited for a snob. Toast, salad, and coffee. Damn. If I'd been by myself, I would have made a pile of early stuff like yakisoba, mashed potatoes, gratin, and so on. You know, I get wanting to make a good impression, but if you construct a persona too much to impress someone, when you actually show them your real self later on, the relationship's gonna fall apart. You're better off finding like a nice balance, like being honest to who you are, but maybe like hiding some of your less favorable traits until, you know, they're more fully committed. Better to scare them off early? Yeah, pretty much. Like, we all want to put our best foot forward, but yeah, if you construct a whole different persona, it's not gonna end well. But I mean, it's easier said than done, because we all want to be liked. We don't want the person we like to not like us. So it's hard. It's hard to be completely honest, I get it. But I mean, I think toast, salad, and gratin would have been fine. Because gratin is like macaroni and cheese, basically. Shannon, is that going to be enough for you? If it is, then I guess we men and animals with really... If it is, then I guess we men are animals with really bad fuel efficiency. But that's not what I... On Shannon's tray, there was only tea and salad. Maybe the mere fact that I thought she was a whole plate short proved I was thinking with a man's stomach. All you have more than her is toast. That is a very deep V-neck on George's shirt. It is. He's actually decently, like, stylishly dressed. He doesn't dress like he's rich, which is, I guess, nice as well. And by that I mean some people think all you need to do to look fashionable is wear the most expensive designer stuff you can. But yeah. I like the dog tags. Shows he's a man of action. Ah, it shows it's the 80s. Every boy wanted to be Rambo or Rocky. Don't you think men should eat a little bit more than that? So should women. You should eat until you're satisfied. I imagine you normally eat much more for lunch, right? Oh, right. Dang. Come to think of it, you already know how much I eat normally because of meals I've had at the head family household. That's right. So I was worried you might have an upset stomach today. Shannon was kind enough to guess that I wasn't feeling well. Looks like my stupid attempt to show off made her worry. Why would eating less be a good way to show off? I don't get these people. And apparently my stomach wasn't going to let me show off any longer. Okay, I'll confess. I was just trying to look cool. I held back just because I was with a girl. I thought so. Considering how much you eat during lunch at the family conferences, I thought that this wasn't nearly enough. please, don't be so reserved and feel free to go choose another dish. It's not fair for only me to be embarrassed. What about you, Shannon? How will you be able to keep up with the Ushinomiya family workload on such a sparse diet? Ow. Shannon fell silent and blushed bright red. Apparently I wasn't the only one showing off. When I realized that, my embarrassment disappeared completely. Oh, so that's not enough for you either, is it? Yeah, you usually eat a bit more than this for lunch. A woman's stomach is made of magic, so this is enough. Is it now? And what kind of magic is that? The magic to consume something and triple its calorie count? So we've both been showing off to each other. Let's not hold back anymore, shall we? I smiled to show that I wouldn't make fun of her anymore and rose from my seat. After finally coming to Okinawa, it'd be a waste if we didn't eat some bitter melon. I'll go get some fried bitter melon or something. Shannon, come with me. Come on, come on. Yes, to anyone watching us, we might seem like an incredibly charming and embarrassing couple. But it's only after becoming a couple that you realize. To us, this exchange of words is everything, our entire world. That's why, no matter how much everyone else stares at us with blank expressions, we never notice. Indeed, at this stage, I finally understand the feelings of couples who want to endlessly flirt without any regard for their surroundings. That just means you're immature. I mean, yes, you shouldn't completely avoid all affection just because you're in public. But at the same time, have some consideration for the people around you. Don't start making out on the bus. After I returned with a plate piled up with fried food, Shannon arrived with a pretty cake. While laughing at our fake stoicism, we resumed our lunch. Even though it's a restaurant with a view of the sea, it's so cloudy. Luckily, our window seats gave us a view of seaside scenery so grandiose that it extended even beyond our field of vision. However, because of the cloudy sky, we were only able to see a fraction of its usual beauty. That's right. If it were clear, we'd undoubtedly see a deep blue sea. Yep. I'll bet you're already used to the sea around Okinjima, but the deep blue of the sea here would surely have been a sight to see. It's a real shame. Oh, but no matter how blue the sea is at work, it might as well be gray to me. But I'm not working today, so, apparently Shauna was doing her best to say an embarrassing line. But I didn't let her get off easy. So close. If only you said we're watching the sea alone with you, George-sama. It looks deep blue no matter how gray it is. I'd have given you full marks and a prize. I'm sorry. Want to hear what the prize was? If you don't mind telling me. No, I won't tell you. That's no fair. When I was in elementary school, I was always the kid who got bullied. Whenever everyone teased me, I grew nervous and speechless to the delight of the bullies. Back then, I wondered why everyone teased me. But now, teasing Shannon like this, I understand why. You do? This is so much fun. George! It's like, oh, I get it now. I forgive the bullies. I understand. You were just having the time of your lives at my expense. I get it now. What the hell? I can play with her emotions however I please, and I can have them all to myself. Right now, I can't think of any greater pleasure. That's why I have to go easy on her. It's not as though I want to make her feel embarrassed and upset. So So I decide to be nice and change the subject. Best not to be too obstinate. When you finish your lunch, do you want to take a walk on the beach? George, right? There was, what was their name? Bedmus or something like that? They unfollowed me after last stream, where they were talking about how the fandom hates George because he married, like he likes Shannon even though she's like 6 years younger than him. This is better reason. This is better reasons to like George. He's kind of a freak. Is he the chapter's main character? I don't know, maybe. We're not even on Rokenjima anymore. This feels weird. That's right. I want to go see it. Because, like, even in Higurashi, even though, you know, the contents of each chapter differ greatly, they all revolve around the same town and, like, you know, the festival and stuff. So I'm like, where's the island? What are y'all doing in Okinawa? Who cares about Okinawa? It sure trips you out because it looks like a watermark on it. It kind of does, yeah. It trips me out because Tomitake was, I'm pretty sure the name of a photographer in Higurashi, like one of the characters. So I'm like, hold on here. But that cake really does look delicious. Maybe I'll go get one of those too. You mustn't. If you eat cake after eating so much, you'll get fat. And he's a photographer that wears dog tags too? I thought so! I thought he also had the dog tags. Alright, what are you doing, Kishi? Are you trying to subtly signal to us that George is going to meet a fate like Tomitake? It looks like Hideyoshi-sama's blood is pretty thick in you, George-sama. So you'll get chubby if you don't take care. That is so rude, though. Shannon, you won't stop liking me if I get fat, will you? After all, I would have stopped liking you if you got fat. She would stop liking you if you got fat. That's what she's telling you, very clearly. There's no other reason to tell someone something like you can't do X or you'll get fat other than the fact that you find fat people repulsive, like... This is also Japan, the country where most clothing is one size fits all, so... If you don't take good care of your body, it'll be bad for your health. I think smoking would be much worse than gaining weight, but what do I know? I'm not a doctor. I'm just an apothecarist. Mother warns me all the time, too. I wonder if I'll have to take up Tai Chi Kwan or something like she does and get some exercise. When going on a diet, it's better to start by rethinking your eating habits rather than just exercising all the time. Apparently, the exercise only helps if you're eating well first. In other words, you're telling me to hold off on the cake, huh? Then I guess I'll just have to gaze at you while you stuff your cheeks with it, Shannon. The whole cake is probably too much, but maybe just half of one would be okay. Here, it's really delicious. Shannon cut her own cake and tried to move half to my dessert plate. I had no doubt that she wanted to share the delicious cake's flavor with me. However, I meanly pulled my plate away from her. She blinked in surprise. She couldn't seem to figure out if I was refusing the cake or not. So I winked, opened my mouth, and said, Really? Right in front of my salad? Get the rocks, kids. So that's what you really wanted. Sheesh, you're such a pampered child, George-sama. Okay, say ah. With a Partly embarrassed, partly exasperated face, Shannon offered the cake to me with a fork. Chomp. It tasted like a cheap chocolate cake you might find anywhere. And yet, it was exceptional. Because eating cake in such an embarrassing way as if we were a couple of perfect fools had been my dream for many years, and made this cake's flavor heavenly. If the earth is destined to end, I wouldn't have any regrets if it happened right now. It was such a moment of bliss. And... oh, off to the beach. After that, we gathered shells, ran from waves, and enjoyed each other's company while walking along the beach. In the end, the clouds never parted. However, we both believed that the sea reflected in our eyes was a deep blue. Somehow, I'm so happy that it scares me. You do say that from time to time. What is it you're afraid of? I'm a servant of the Ushiromiya family. For someone like me to be walking like this with a member of the family, it just felt like it was too much for me. I'm also surprised I didn't just meet you yesterday or today, Shannon-chan. We've known each other for years now. However, we can only meet during those family meetings that only happen a few times a year. Back then, I couldn't even imagine having the sort of relationship where I could spend time with you like this. It was the same for you too, right? I did imagine it. No, I mean, maybe I should call it, kind of daydream. I did think about what it'd be like being in a relationship with you, a boy who was always so gentlemanly and considerate, though it was only ever a fantastic daydream. Then, we must have your believing heart to thank for our relationship. Magic dwells in the power of love, so I'm sure that magic brought us together. You're right. I really do think it was magic. What, did she put a love spell on him? But you know, that's not actually true. As you kept looking more and more beautiful every year, you became a larger and larger presence in my mind too. If the same thing happened to you, then the fact that we're here today is simply an inevitable course, an inevitable consequence rather than something caused by a miracle or magic. No. A miracle did happen, George-sama. He stopped walking down the beach, gazing out beyond the sea. A miracle? No, it was magic. It happened. I was bewildered by that slightly mysterious phrase which I sometimes heard her use. Magic, you say? Yes, magic. I doubt you'd believe me if I explained it, so I won't. But this bit of magic definitely had the power to grant the miracle that brought us together. Are you talking about some kind of ritual? Yeah, you might call it something like that. Except that it really was magic, not just some ritual. Maybe it's all girls, not just Shannon, who tend to treat encounters as miracles or coincidence. But for a man like me, an encounter with a girl is 70% hard work to try and make her like you, 20% courage, 10% and 10% coincidence. The part that means everything to her is a much smaller factor in my mind. Maybe that way of thinking itself is calculating and typical of men. Y'all just looking at the end result. You're not appreciating the journey, that's why. But if I said that out loud, it might dissolve all kinds of magic. To my mind, there were lots of coincidences, compromises, and expended effort on both sides before we gained the relationship we have today. At the culmination of it all, we got to spend this joyful time together. And if she wants to call that magic, I've got no objections to her choice of words. So, I'll stand up for that magic. You're right. If the same fate were repeated 100 times, maybe you and I could get into a relationship like this only one of those times. In the other instances, even though we'd be aware of each other, maybe we would have only maintained a reserved relationship after all this time. From the perspective of those other me's and you's, you and I are undoubtedly in a miraculous relationship right now. That's not what I meant. It really was magic. No matter how often you tell men something like this, they'll never believe it. Kanamkun didn't believe me at all either. I believe you. I'd hate for the magic to fade away because I didn't believe in it. George-sama. In a small voice, I apologized for saying something that trivialized her magic. Shannon seemed to be glad to hear me say that. After all, if two people believe in the magic of love, it becomes eternal. Oh, that's right. I was wondering if you'd be willing to agree to a little whim of mine. Yes? What is it? You call me George-sama, right? It's not that I dislike it, but would you consider not calling me that anymore? Of course, you have to keep up your appearances with the Ushinomiya family, so I wouldn't force you to do so during your everyday routine on Rokkenjima. But when we're alone, I'd rather you didn't call me that. Yeah, let's make that a rule. A rule? What would happen if I violated that rule? Maybe we should have some kind of punishment game if you break the rule. Yes, what should it be? Wanna hear? No, I don't want to hear. I'll have to think about what it should be. Okay. George. Song. Yeah, I love the way that sounds. I'm so happy, Shannon. I'm also have another name. It's Sayo. I see. The rules gotta be fair after all. I'll follow it too, and from now on, I'll call you Sayo. Okay. Sayo? Yes. I held her shoulder and drew her close. When I forcefully pulled her delicate body towards me, she dove into my chest like a doll. As I held her head in my arms, we both looked at the horizon. What a deep blue sea. I'm so happy we got to look at this sea. Just the two of us. Me too. I'm so glad to have a chance to look at this deep blue sea with you. As we gazed at the gray sea and a light rain began to sprinkle down, we kept listening to each other's heartbeats. The sound of waves flows into my ears. No, it's the sound of an enraged sea. My body, bathed in painfully cold splashes, does not allow me to forget. It won't let me forget the memories of the day my old fate was broken and smashed. Once, tomorrows were literally like looking into a mirror. All I ever saw there was the person I already was. Tomorrow was absolutely no different from today. That was my old fate. But then, for the first time, I saw a different fate beyond the mirror. The witch whispers to me. She tempts me to take a bite out of the fruit of knowledge. She torments me, saying I'll be furniture as long as I stay in God's paradise. So, I decided to choose the path of knowing love and tried to become a person. Those days were like sweet honey, but at the time, I didn't realize that they'd be the start of a new kind of suffering. I've arrived at a small island on a motorboat I've only just learned how to use. No, this can hardly be called a small island. It's little more than a rock jutting out of the water. On this rock is a torii and a small shrine. For those who don't know, the torii are those big red, like, gate-looking structures that you see in, like, anime and, like, all that stuff. It was probably built to worship the guardian deity of Rokkenjima. Even though I don't know exactly what it signifies, I know it has to be something holy. Even in a place like this, I've got to take just one more look around to see if there's anyone who might get mad at me for coming. I see nothing but the stormy ocean, Ninjima, looming in the distance, and the waves breaking against Rokkenjima's steep cliffside. I ready myself, timidly approach the small shrine, and take the mirror that lies there as an offering. The mirror looks old, cloudy, and dirty. That would probably make any normal mirror seem horribly cheap. However, since the mirror's been placed in this small shrine, its appearance seems to give some sort of divine quality to it. And there's one thing I can tell. This is no simple mirror. It may seem like an old, battered mirror to a non-believer like myself, but it has a great significance. Is it really okay to break this after being captivated by honeyed words? No, this isn't really a mirror. This is the life I couldn't escape until today, my fate. I'll break it. I'll smash it and seize the life that lies beyond this mirror. If I don't smash it, my life will be a pair of facing mirrors forever. Nothing will ever change in the slightest. The witch whispers to me. She tempts me to take a bite of the fruit of knowledge. Or maybe I've already tasted of that fruit. After all, I've already experienced those maddening emotions. Just as Adam and Eve felt compelled to pluck their fig leaves, I can no longer go on without breaking this mirror. I've struggled with conflicting emotions for many days before this moment. Inside my heart, the virtuous part of me kept on fighting the part that sides with the witch. And now, here I am. Did the part of me that's here right now win or lose? There's only one thing I know. To obtain something, you must be ready to lose something. Cowards who don't risk anything, who never try to change anything, will never be given the key that opens the path to a new future. That key is already in my hands. And that key is to break this, to smash it. Is there any other effort I can make as furniture imprisoned in Rokkenjima? No. This is the only way for me. Come, have courage. I'll free myself from being mere furniture, and by accepting a new kind of suffering, I'll become human. This is surely a small, yet large trial I must impose on myself. Come on, smash it. I'll smash to pieces the eternally unchanging fate that imprisons me. I raise the mirror high. I think back on the days of conflict that came before, and finishing my reflection in the blink of an eye, I throw it down. The thunder roars, crying out against me for my outrageous act. It truly is the hatred of angels trying to banish me from eternal paradise. I look down at the mirror tumbling at my feet, broken in 2 equal parts. And after making sure I've accomplished my task, I scream up at the raging skies. I've kept my promise. Now, it's your turn to keep yours, right? Thunder roars once more. I've already been banished from paradise, so I'll have to struggle on my own if I want to live. The witch told me that is the single element of this world. To lose it means losing the world. Like how a canteen with a hole in the bottom can't be filled no matter how much water you pump into it, unless you turn it upside down. So the hole's at the top. I've kept my promise. Now it's your turn to keep yours. Please grant my wish. Beatrice-sama! Shannon, what did you do? When they were coming over on the boat in the first episode, they mentioned how the shrine is completely gone. So I guess Shannon is the reason why the shrine's gone. Interesting. The sound is such a bop. It is! Shikata Akiko, I think is her name. Shigata Akiko? Oh, Maria with blood on her face. That's not good. Welcome to Rokkenjima. No, thank you. Don't feel very welcomed. My mind wandered. I'm sure she'll be fine. Back to the days when I could barely imagine the happiness I have now. I was a middle schooler at that time. A normal girl who thought about love as much as you would expect of someone at that age. But in truth, it was wrong of me to have that dream. After all, I am furniture. Furniture is nothing more than a tool, not a human. As a person less than human, simply receiving an education was an enormous blessing. So in reality, even thinking about falling in love was more than I deserved. The Ushiromiya Family Conference was a customary event held every October, but relatives sometimes visited at other times. Of course, they didn't come just to drink tea. On this day, Ava's family was visiting the head family under Okenjima. The 3 members of Klaus's family and the 3 members of Ava's family had gathered in the parlor and were having a friendly chat about recent events. Genji had supposedly told Kinzo of Ava family's arrival, but he still hadn't come down. He was probably immersed in his research and couldn't spare the time. This often happened, so the others waited patiently for their fickle father to arrive. Oh, how promising. Make sure you work hard under your father, building the skills you'll need if you want to lend him a hand soon. Thank you very much. I've learned countless precious things from the many experienced people Father has introduced me to. And these were all things I could have never learned in school. When you're in school, it's not math and language you're learning. What they're really teaching you is the right outlook and attitude for learning more. Once you've got that base, you can finally start a long period of study that'll last your entire life. People who don't get this end up spending their whole lives as fools who never learn. Just getting full marks in math and language won't do you any good at your company. I mean, true. Especially depending on what kind of profession you're in, you should never stop learning. Like, medicine, for example, you should be reading up on stuff, like, every month. At the very least, once a year. Otherwise, you're gonna miss out on new advancements and stuff. Engineering as well is the same kind of thing. Indeed, that is exactly right. Excuse me. Hideyoshi-san, your style of education never fails to impress. George isn't quite a full man yet. He'd better always keep that in mind and embrace his studies. Stop it, dear. George is always giving it his all, right? Truly admirable. I wish our Jessica would learn from him. Sheesh! Are you still holding a grudge about that test score? I'm studying for tests the best I can. At least don't say it here. Pissing me off. Once people started praising George for his diligence, the conversation usually turned to Jessica, who hated studying. Yeah. George is a nice guy, but he's also that cousin you kind of hate at the same time. Because he makes your life indirectly miserable. Because your parents will always be like, why can't you be like them? Jessica made an openly displeased face, as though she'd known this would happen. My. Schoolwork aside, it seems Jessica had better learn to choose her words a little more gracefully. How improper for the single daughter who bears the weight of the Ushinomiya family crest. Come now, she's quite appealing in her own way, isn't she? Times change. The time when we had to act all modest to entertain men ended long ago. That's right. I knew you'd understand, Aunt Ava. My headache is truly trying today. Are you okay? Aunt Natsuhi, you're looking a bit pale. Thank you, I am fine. Still, time really has flown. It feels just like yesterday when you'd run around half naked by the beach and come back soaked. Wasn't your Jessica the same? And now she's a lady who fusses over how to put on makeup. I see you focused on your eyebrows. You look really cute today. Thank you very much. No one noticed, so I was a bit unsure of myself. A full smile rose to Jessica's face as the results of her own studies were finally appreciated. Ava smiled back in the same way. Then she turned that smile towards Natsuhi. Oh boy, here we go again. Come on, Natsuhi-ne-san. You must take notice of small changes in your own child. Poor Jessica. You probably wanted your mother to notice first, didn't you? Yikes. Shots fired. No problem. No problems here. That person never notices anything. Yikes, girl. Jessica. And I cannot condone you speaking of your mother in such a fashion. Apologize. Later, I will speak to you at length about your language. Yeah, just cause your aunt has your back doesn't mean you can get away with shit-talking your parents. I hate to break it to you, girly. If you don't want kids getting in your way, just say so. I'm gonna take a step outside. It's getting stuffy in here. Jessica? Oh, there she goes. Jessica was still at the age where tests and entrance exams are pretty nerve-wracking. Recently, she'd clashed often with her mother, who was enthusiastic about her education. Excuse me. Gah! Jessica, who was trying to leave the parlor in a bad mood, bumped into Shannon, who was pushing a serving cart filled with tea. Shannon, no need to worry about my tea. I'm just gonna go wander around the garden. M'lady? Shannon, the tea is getting cold. Serve it quickly. My apologies. Shannon hadn't actually done anything wrong. But Natsuhi, who felt like something shameful to herself had been shown, lashed out at her emotionally. This was something that often happened in the Ushiromiya family. But it seemed Shannon wasn't strong-willed enough to just accept it and move on. She shrank back and cowered while serving the tea. She had the unfortunate habit of making more mistakes when she cowered. Her pitiful appearance ruined the peaceful atmosphere that had existed a moment before. It wasn't really Shannon's fault, but she thought she might be the source and felt a pressure on her chest. Her shaking fingers made the utensils clang, and you couldn't have called it graceful, not even just to be polite. The more pitiful she appeared, the greater the silence grew. The more irritated Natsuhi looked, and the more Shannon cowered. Shannon's thin neck felt like it was being suffocated and choked by the reaper known as stress. At that time, George spoke brightly, blowing away the stiff atmosphere. This smells nice. What kind of black tea is it? This is... No, don't say it. I'll guess. It's a very distinctive smell, so I probably know it. Is it Earl Grey? I think it probably is. Haha, yeah, I'll bet it's Earl Grey. When when you get back to the kitchen, check the tin. Oh, George-kun, you know a lot about black tea, don't you? One of the company presidents who's looked after me was very knowledgeable about black tea. I managed to pick up a little while listening to him discuss the subject. Now I want tea. But it's hot as balls. It's summer. I feel like I can only have warm drinks in the morning when it's summer. Oh yeah, the president of Okinogi Foods. Yup, that sort of trivia is that guy's specialty. Names of black teas often refer to the places they're made, right? So did this come from a place with that name? From what I've heard, there was a person called Earl Grey in England long ago, and it was named after him. Let's check. I'm testing you, George. Earl Grey. Name. Origin. Ah! So he was right. Earl Grey is named after Charles Grey, 2nd Earl Grey, a British Prime Minister in the 1830s. While the exact circumstances of the tea's creation are debated, it's generally believed the blend, which includes bergamot flavoring, was named in his honor. One popular story suggests a Chinese mandarin presented the blend to Earl Grey as thank you for saving his son. However, the story is not definitively supported. The name Earl Grey likely gained popularity as a way to market the tea, giving it an air of aristocratic prestige. Doo-doo. Interesting. So, obviously, that's not 100% accurate, as many things are. So, that was what the summary on Google said. But Wiki says, yes, it's been suggested it was named after Earl Grey. However, the fact that adding bergamot to tea was being done in a disreputable manner near the time of his death suggests that while it is possible that the 2nd Earl Grey encountered tea flavored with bergamot, it seems rather unlikely that he would have championed it. So basically, bergamot in tea was blasphemous. I see. Furthermore, this distinctive smell doesn't come from tea leaves, but from a fruit called a bergamot, which is a relative of the mandarin orange. Is that so? I never knew that. Learning things like that makes tea taste all the more delicious. You know, she does have a point. Learning the origins behind stuff gives you a deeper appreciation for it. Same goes for alcohol and cigarettes. I don't know about that one, but... Luxury items have a taste of romance. Knowing stuff like this deepens the taste. It's the same as reading the list of benefits on a medicine bottle. Nasehine-san, you should try reading the explanation of your favorite headache medicine someday. That's a wonderful idea. Try it tonight. Yes, I'll do so. Shanan-chan, try opening that pot. You should find some dried bergamot mixed in with the tea leaves. Ah, yes. It's in there. Something like dried orange peel is mixed in. Yes, that's probably bergamot. The main ingredient in Earl Grey scent. The scent is vivid, so you might expect the taste to be intense, but it's still gentle and easy to drink. If you make it with milk, the scent should become more mild, which works great. Now I want London Fog. London Fog is basically just Earl Grey with milk. Like it's like a latte, but with Earl Grey. I do have decaffeinated Earl Grey, so I could technically have some after stream, but warm drink before bed, I don't know. Not this time of year. If there's anything left in the pot after you've poured for everyone, you really should try drinking it with milk. Ah, yes. Thank you very much. George gave her a small wink. Shannon finally realized that George had kind-heartedly swept aside the tense atmosphere in the room. And he had done it for the sake of Shannon herself, a cowering servant. The Ushinomiya family did not pamper their servants. Any display of awkwardness would harshly be punished. So it was rare for them to be given a helping hand like this, and y'all wonder why you all got murdered. Sheesh. People be people, be nice. Thanks to George's kindness, Shannon managed to regain control of herself and finished serving the tea without any further incident. As long as she stayed calm, she could carry out her work elegantly and flawlessly. By the time the black tea was laid out on the table and its elegant scent filled the room, the atmosphere had completely returned to its former peaceful mood, and everyone praised George's knowledge. So she decided to at least thank him inside her heart, praying to God that George would hear it as she pushed the serving cart away. Jordan Nissan always lends a helping hand at times like that, by changing the topic or something. Shannon and Jessica were in the rose garden. Jessica still hadn't returned to the parlor after getting into a fight with her mother, and was nonchalantly killing time here. When I think back on it, I get the feeling this wasn't the first time he's helped me like that. Whenever I've made a careless mistake and George was around, I'm pretty sure he'd always naturally smooth things over and restore harmony. Maybe it wasn't as something as direct as picking up a fork that had been dropped. But that was his way of caring. Even servants have their pride. They want to fix their own mistakes by themselves. And if a guest lends them a hand, they'll lose face. He's really good at reading between the lines when stuff like that happens. Well, I guess it's kind of like an art to him. That guy's more of a show-off than he looks. That's not true. I think he's a really wonderful person. You can be a show-off and still be a good person. It's not necessarily an insult, my girl. Shannon, you haven't fallen in love with George Nissan, have you? For one, Shannon had disagreed with Jessica in a slightly forceful tone, which immediately caught Jessica's attention. No, that's not it, I think. Come to think of it, I've hardly heard any stories about George Nissan in love. I think I remember hearing him say that family-oriented girls were his type, didn't I? Sweet, that fits you perfectly, Shannon. It does? How could I am not suitable for such a thing? Not suitable, like hell you aren't. You've known him so long, you're practically a childhood friend. They say that when you start from a natural relationship where you don't think of the other as a member of the opposite sex, things start to move pretty fast once you finally start thinking about it. There's no doubt. Jessica loved teen magazines with this kind of story. And she was always getting excited talking about that kind of thing with her friends. It's the only thing she has to look forward to. She was very quick to pick up on love stories like this. So, this wasn't the first time Shannon had been exposed to this kind of story. But this certainly was the first time she'd started thinking of George as a member of the opposite sex. She was furniture, while George was an honored guest and a member of the Ushinomiya family. Until now, she'd assumed that even imagining any deeper relationship with him would be, impermissible. The Ushinomiya family is thought policing now. What a terrible fate to behold. So she hadn't thought of it. Since it was someone else's problem, Jessica poked fun at it, seeming to enjoy herself. It was all Shannon could do to hide her blushing cheeks. If George were to appear at a time like that, she'd have no chance of keeping her cool. They saw George come out from the entrance hall of the mansion. Speak of the devil and they shall appear, as the saying goes. It looked like he'd seen them as well. He headed over, waving his hand. Shannon had to frantically regain her ordinary composure before George reached them. Grandfather finally came down. Damn, the man exists. Now they're having an adult discussion, so they chased me out. Ha ha, escaping then was the right choice. It'd be better to kiss the angel of death than look at grandfather's face. Damn! You shouldn't speak that way. But you know, I think grandfather might think of us as angels of death. After all, we came here to talk about borrowing money for business reasons. That's right, this was at the customary annual October family conference. Ava's family had visited to apply for a business loan from the head family. Kinzo had vast resources, and he lent those out to his children. Of course, they did borrow money because they were living in poverty. How would they expand their businesses with the vast sums they wanted to borrow? How much interest would be attached, and how long would they have to repay it? This wasn't the sort of loan designed for the poor. It was a loan for those who were on the offensive. Kinzo strictly judged whether it would be worth lending out his fortune, and afterwards he strictly oversaw its use. So Rokenjima would sometimes play host to this spectacle, where relatives visited and described their businesses to Kinzo. To the parents, these meetings burdened them with the strain of having to move a vast amount of money. But to Jessica, who lived on this isolated island called Rokenjima, it was a precious opportunity to meet up with her cousins. So being able to talk with the occasional guests, such as George like this, immediately cured the bad mood she got in from that fight with her mother. My family's totally stingy too. They've probably got money to spare, so why not lend it out graciously? Cause then people take advantage of it and eventually the money, runs out, all that good stuff. Dad and grandfather probably get pig-headed and act all aborted. It's natural to be prudent when lending money. Of course, my father will use what he borrows to expand his business, and he came up with a plan that promises a solid probability of repayment. Bum. Bum, bum, bum. But I really wish I could watch from the corner and learn. Bum, 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 bum. The piano's so nice, though. Mother chased me out. I'm a little let down. It seems the master still tends to scold Klaus-sama and Eva-sama as if they were kids. I'm sure she didn't want to let her son see that. Bum, 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 bum. As Shannon hung her head, she thought back on a scene familiar to those who worked in the mansion. Even Kraus, who acted hauntedly towards his siblings, was still treated like a child by Kinzo. Shannon herself had often seen Kinzo slap Kraus and tell him to sit up straight. Jesus! That's crazy. I mean, you never really stop being the child of your parents and stuff like that, but I don't know if slapping a 40-year-old like they are 4 is, a good family relationship. I mean, you shouldn't be slapping a 4-year-old anyway, but you know what I mean. It was probably very embarrassing to be coerced like that at his age. Do, 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 do. Taking care to avoid being present at times like that was one of the important responsibilities held by the servants working here. However, the fact that Shannon had ended up witnessing such a scene meant that she'd messed up at least once in the past. Yes, I imagine so. Maybe figuring that out and staying away is part of a child's duty. That aside, the flowers in this garden look truly splendid this year. George stretched as he said that, and he smoothly changed the subject away from one that was a little gloomy. This time, Shannon noticed it too. This person, George, could sensitively figure out the situation and always change the subject to something harmonious out of kindness. It was so smooth that Shannon hadn't noticed it until today. Today, Shannon really had to admire the way George did that. Of the boys close to Shannon's age that she'd known, nearly all had been classmates during her period of mandatory education. But they had all been young, and none had possessed the composure George had. Mere moments ago, he'd just been another guest. But right now, she couldn't help but think of him as something more. However, such thoughts were mere distractions from her work as a servant. Shannon tried to chase them away with a small shake of her head. What's up? No, it's nothing. Shall I make some tea? I will prepare some more of that Earl Grey. So you remember the name of the tea? Thank you for your concern back then. Shannon was finally able to put her gratitude into words. If you wrote it out, it wouldn't be very long, but Shannon had needed a little spark of courage to say it out loud. But George played dumb. What do you mean? I don't remember doing anything I should be thanked for. Hee. Okay, George. Seemed to be playing the gentleman in his own way, letting her know he wasn't doing it out of a desire for gratitude. George's response seemed to be more or less exactly what Jessica had predicted. She couldn't help but burst out laughing. See? Isn't he a bit of a show-off at times like this? No, that's not. Jessica poked fun at Shannon as the latter remained silent, red-faced. George didn't know the details, but he naturally joined in, laughing the same way. The three of them lazily walked around the garden, catching up on recent events. George, as the oldest cousin, talked about his life experiences. Jessica talked about recent life on Okinjima. And Shannon talked about her recent work. They kept going on about these trivial things. Even when Shannon heard the others talk about deeply interesting things, she never felt any particular interest in the actual contents of their stories. She was nothing more than a servant, and she had no intention of delving into her master's lives. She simply wanted them to enjoy their time speaking with her, and would only pretend to listen intently, nod at the right moments. But for some reason, the things George talked about today seemed to catch her interest powerfully. Even things she normally ignored felt like they contained a trace of kindness behind the words. For some reason, she wanted to know more things about George, no matter how trivial. So, she stared fixedly at him. She thought that as far as looks went, that George Ushiromiya was what, okay? Decent? Was probably about average and didn't stick out in any particular way. Ouch. Better than being called ugly, I guess, but eep. But he was diligent, serious, and he had a deep prudence which allowed him to understand people's hearts and show concern. But she never noticed these things before now. Come on. There we go. She may not have met him many times, but she known his face for many years. Even so, she hadn't noticed once until now. Shannon, embarrassed by her own obliviousness, blushed. George, perhaps thinking that Shannon would listen intently to her stories, kept talking happily and at length about things he'd done and seen. But Jessica didn't miss that slight change in Shannon. So, she changed the conversation to the topic she was sure Shannon was most interested in. Oh yeah, come to think of it, George Nissan, have you finally gotten a girlfriend or what? Where'd that come from? Normally that reaction should have been answer enough. But for some reason, as she was now, Shannon wouldn't be able to understand it unless he said it clearly. George-sama is very nice, so I'm sure, he's very popular. Well, quit it, Shannon. Isn't cornering him like that actually pretty mean? wasn't trying to be mean. Well, I'm flattered that you have that mistaken impression of me. But unfortunately, I still haven't had a relationship with any particular girl. After all, my looks are below average, as you can see. Ouch. And I can't speak tactfully in a way that can entertain a girl. I don't think that's true. And I think a man's charm is decided by something that can't be measured by his appearance. That's why, I think you might be considered a very attractive man, George-sama. Shannon was being uncharacteristically verbose. She hardly ever spoke at such length. George seemed fairly pleased to hear someone applaud his charm like this. But he was just a little surprised at the sudden high praise. Jessica, now sure her guess was spot on, appeared to be holding back her laughter. Thank you, Shannon-chan. I hope I do bump into a girl who's generous enough to feel attracted to me before too long. Yes, I'm sure you'll run into one. I'm sure there's at least one. No, a lot of girls who will recognize your real charm. She probably wanted to say there was at least one girl very close to him. Shannon avoided saying that much, drawing a final line as a servant. Really? I guess I'm kind of embarrassed. I'd probably never been praised this heavily by a girl before. George's face turned just as bright red as Shannon's. As she watched the two of them, Jessica giggled sadistically. Great, Jessica. Don't be like this. Don't be like this. What a menace. Well, I'm sure you'll eventually bump into a wonderful partner, George-sama. And I doubt you'll be able to properly escort your partner as you are now, right? And looks like you're diligent, but you've completely abandoned your studies of that. Sorry about that. I'll start studying that bit by bit. Rest in peace. And how do you plan to do that all by yourself, Are you gonna watch romance movies or something? I mean, that's fine. That works. It's not 100% accurate to real life, but at least it's something. Or are you gonna learn from Uncle Hideyoshi? Well, you're acting pretty triumphant. Men are no match for girls when it comes to this sort of thing. Normally, when George and Jessica got together, their parents would say George is jealous and admirable, and Jessica is lazy and rude. This poor girl. She gets no breaks. So, it was probably unbearably fun for Jessica to have their roles reversed. George realized this as well, so he resigned himself to being the one getting teased for once. So, George Nissan, as long as you're okay with it, why not practice a bit with Shannon? It'll be your job to keep Shannon entertained all day long on a date. Damn. What are you doing? My lady! When she heard Jessica's audacious plan, Shannon's face turned bright red with a poof, and a donut of smoke started to rise from her head. Ah, sudden anime. That's a very tempting plan, but I wouldn't want to burden Shannon-chan. I just ended up wasting one of her precious days off, wouldn't I? I'd be butting in on that sacred time she should be spending alone with someone she really likes. I couldn't do something so boorish. I also, don't have a person I have feelings for or anything, so, there's no need to hold back for my sake. Shannon's blood had all rushed to her head, and it looked like she didn't even know what she was babbling about. Hang in there, girl. Babbling. When the seagulls babbling. Umineko no naku babbling. Jessica, who knew how Shannon normally was, seemed to be finding this hilarious. She couldn't hide her cackling laughter anymore. Thanks, Jessica. You're so supportive. Is that true? I can't believe a cute girl like you would be single, Shannon-chan. She doesn't leave the island very much, so you know. I am also a servant, so, of course I don't have any relationship with boys. Which means that if Shannon ever wants a chance at getting herself a wonderful guy, she needs practice with her relationships too, right? Oh no, I just realized this is the fake dating trope that's in the fanfics. Like, you know, it's like, oh, I told my parents that I'd be bringing my girlfriend to the family conference, and now they won't leave me alone. Can you come be my fake girlfriend? I'll pay you. And then she's like, oh my god, I would be your real girlfriend if you just asked, but I know you're not interested in me. But yes, I will love to be your fake girlfriend. We should kiss to make it more convincing, haha. Unless, yeah, and we should sleep in the same bed, and like maybe, I don't know, maybe we should do some ecchi stuff. I don't know. Depends on the rating. Depends on the rating. Also depends on if the fake girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever plot gets exposed. That also depends. Sometimes it does, and like, you know, that leads to them actually having a real relationship. Sometimes they just go along with it. Along the way, it comes out, it's like, hey, I actually really do like you, and then the family's none the wiser. I always wonder about that setting. Like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, we started dating like 6 months ago or something, a year ago. And then, like, you know, when they're a real couple, they're like, hey, we just had our 3-year anniversary. And then it's like, shouldn't you guys have been together for like almost 5 years now? It's like, whoops, I'm about that. We've been lying to you for years. Don't kick us out of the house, Mom. She needs practice with the relationships too, right? So you both want the same thing. Sweet, that'll be perfect. What could possibly go wrong? Everything. Jessica irresponsibly cheered the two of them on. By now, even George was hanging his head and turning red. George, I've been calling for you for a while now. Didn't you hear me? When Ava appeared in what was already an embarrassing situation, both of them got even more flustered. Ah, of course. Jessica watched and laughed loudly. Ah, Mother! Sorry, I was so engrossed in our conversation. I didn't notice. Oh, Ava-sama, you have my deepest apologies. It looks like you young kids are getting really fired up together. You're all about that age. Oh, I know you kids can talk about that sort of thing forever. Aw, come on. You're still young yourself, Aunt Ava. Yeah, someone might not like it if George goes out with the servants. Yeah, I wonder who that could be. Honestly, I'm sure I'm willing to bet money it will probably be a thing in one of the chapters. I'm surprised Ava hasn't set up an arranged marriage for George yet. I mean, I'm not sure how common that still is IRL these days. But I know definitely in a lot of 80s and 90s anime, an arranged fiancé was like a super common thing. Maybe the Ushomiyas are like, okay, you can go out, but you'll marry rich. It's like, yeah, this is just like a toy. You're just playing house right now. When it's time to get an actual house, like, we're gonna pick your partner, okay? Please tell us how you and Uncle Hideyoshi met. Oh my, there's no way I could say that. You all really are so young. What, did you meet him in a bar and, like, do the nasty in the bathroom? Like, hello? What? Why is it embarrassing? I think it showed up once or twice in the trailer watch-alongs. I'm pretty sure you're right, yeah. So what is it, Mother? You called because you wanted something, right? Your father and the rest have finished talking. We're going to talk to Grandfather about you. So, come on. About me? What could that be? The same thing you were all talking about just now. Wait, did I predict it? You know what I mean, right? Oh, that. That isn't really something we need to talk to Grandfather about, right? What's going on? Wait, George Nissan, are you getting married? Oh my god, I predicted it! I'm too good at this. I'm too good at this. Nailed it! I called the plot! No, no! Didn't I just say I didn't have a particular woman I was interested in? That isn't something to brag about, is it? Good grief. Ava smiled bitterly, looking a little exasperated. What does that mean, Ava, huh? Huh? What's wrong with being single? You got a problem with 95% of us moonbeams, huh? We should bite your ankles. That'll show you. Oh, I get it. George Nissan is on one of those, right? And oh me, a marriage meeting. Marriage meeting, you say? I did see those in a Gretsuko. Well, yeah. It's okay, George. Just be absolutely awful, and nothing will come of it. Just start reciting the digits of pi. And that girl and her family will pack up lickety-split. Surely as a man, George wanted to find a partner by himself and bring her home with him. So it seemed he thought it was a bit pathetic to meet his partner for the first time in a marriage meeting arranged by his parents. I mean, it used to be much more common, and sometimes it does end up being a good relationship, other times it's horrible, so I guess that's just the same as when you try and find a partner yourself. Shouldn't marriage meetings be done at a more mature age? I still don't feel like I've become a fully fledged adult. Of course, we have no desire to rush into an immediate engagement or marriage, right? There's nothing wrong with deepening your friendship first and then having her move to our family register after you've gotten older and settled down. Judging by Ava's forceful attitude and George's non-committal one, the others could catch a glimpse of the story behind this marriage meeting. Ah, yes. Marriages of convenience. I remember a kid from Slovakia saying he was set to be engaged when we were 12. Still not sure if he was joking. Some cultures do it. I mean, in Shaman King, the characters were 13 years old and they were engaged. So, I mean, it's possible. Kind of insane, but you know, it's possible. Ah, yes, when your children were just tradable commodities like cattle. I haven't heard that name in years. It's my favorite anime! Yo was my first anime boyfriend. Well, maybe second? Matt from Digimon was probably technically my first anime boyfriend. Yo was probably the first anime boyfriend when I was actually at an age to have an anime boyfriend. Because I was like, you know, like, what, 7 when I was watching Digimon? You liked Anna? Oh my god. I'm still not huge on Anna's character, but I've mellowed out to her. But of course, as a child, I hated her guts, as things tend to go when your favorite character has a canonical love interest. You kind of end up wishing they burn in a fire or something like that. You had a type? You had a type, or you have a type? Now I wonder who my first anime significant other was. C2 from Code Geass. Damn, you're turning me to dust. Depending how old you were when you watched Code Geass, you're dusting me. I liked Suzaku in Code Geass. Before he was, before he kind of went bananas. Now I haven't watched the new Code Geass, but I keep seeing like screenshots of like what's her name, Rose or whatever, the girl who looks exactly like Lelouch but as a woman. I'm like, shit. It's softened from liking characters who would hate you. Fair enough. Rika! Oh my god, Rika. Oh man. That was another one of those. I really should have realized I was a lesbian a long time ago. If you want to go... If I had the knowledge to know that being gay was an option when I was a little kid, first anime significant other probably would have been either Jupiter from Sailor Moon or Haruka slash Uranus from Sailor Moon. Hinata was pretty good. My Naruto significant other was Shikamaru. I did like Sasuke and I did like Naruto as well, but Shikamaru is the one who stood the test of time. Haruka is so stylish, right? I mean, I did sort of like Makoto, but like Haruka was definitely one of those things where I'm like, yeah, the flags were blazing red, but I was colorblind. God, what was it? I don't think I ever talked about the moment I realized that you could actually like people of the same gender. I didn't know it was a bad thing, quote unquote. That was a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but you know, this was the 90s. My parents were at least very chill and not like, you know, homophobic or anything like that. But I remember being on a school bus and some kids asked if, what was it? They asked if I was a fruit or something. Like, it was back then. Like, that was the slur, being called a fruit. I'm like, because, like, you know, I hadn't gone into the boys yet when I was, like, 13 or whatever. And I'm like, what's that? It's like, it means you like other girls. I'm like, and I said no. But I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was an option. I was like, wait, that's a thing? Well, then. I mean, of course I'm not, but, well. The very fact that they'd be satisfied with a mere engagement to deepen the relationship between the two families rather than an immediate marriage made it feel almost like a political maneuver. Yeah, just a bit. You see, marriage isn't something you should enter into only after you start liking someone. You marry first, and then you adjust. If you marry based purely on emotions, you'll always end up regretting it. I mean, I can understand that to some extent. Because they do say, because that's the thing, right? Like, you can get married for love, but at the end of the day, to stay married for 20, 30, whatever years, every day you have to wake up and decide you are still going to stay committed to this person, and you're gonna like their good parts and, like, tolerate their bad parts, that kind of stuff. So I do kind of get where she's saying. It's like, oh, you get married first, then you adjust. But I'm like, okay, but if you don't like them at all, then I don't think that's that great either, you know? Maybe Ava and Hideyoshi are the result of her arranged marriage by Kinzo? Maybe. This family seems very much, you know, the type to be like a woman's only job is to bring prestige to her birth family and then GTFO to someone else's family. So I could see it. There's certainly nothing wrong with choosing a person with a secure background for your partner in life and then developing your affection later. Aunt Ava, isn't that kind of rude to Uncle Hideyoshi? I love that man. I want to always be with him and to live my life by his side. Ava-sama, that's wonderful. Truly splendid. Thank you. But we built up those feelings while we were husband and wife, you see. And I believe that in the future we will be much, much closer than we are now. I think that's what's best for a married couple. Still, I don't think you can use that to argue that it's okay to marry someone you don't even like. Yeah, because, like, that's the thing, right? If you marry someone who is, like, a friend or something... Because, I mean... people who are ace arrow sometimes get into, like, you know, like, partnerships anyway, where it's like there's no romance in the terms that we know it, but they still live together, they still function together, they're still committed to each other and that kind of stuff. You could almost, I guess, consider it a marriage of convenience, especially if they're opposite genders. Because, I mean, at some point, if you live with someone long enough by law, you become common law married. As long as it's fully optional for both sides. Yeah. But, yeah, like, so the point I was trying to make before I derailed myself a bit was, like, when you have those situations, it's like, yeah, even if there's no romance, to be in a lifelong partnership with someone, you do have to like them as a person. You need to at least be willing to be their friend, you know? And not just a friend you can tolerate being in your space. Like, everyone needs their own space, which is why, like, you know, even a 2-bedroom apartment, like, people talk, it's like, oh yeah, a 2-bedroom apartment really should be for 2 people, so people can have their space and stuff, but yeah. But it also doesn't mean it's okay to marry anyone as long as you like them. It only takes an instant to get married, but your life as a married couple will last a long, long time after that. Excuse me. Ava, sorry. The smell of Ava's bullshit was so strong, it tickled my nose, and that happened. So, you should search with prudence and avoid making decisions based on momentary emotions. Yes, it only takes a moment to get married. It also only takes a moment to get divorced. Technically. As long as no-fault divorces are legal. If it's an at-fault divorce, it kind of starts getting a little more complicated. Don't you think a matter like this would be better handled by us rather than a person lacking in life experiences, such as yourself? And whose fault is it that he has a lack of life experiences, huh? like the boy has been kept under lock and key. It ain't his fault. That may be true, but I'm proud of you, my only son. You've grown magnificently, and you'll do us proud no matter where you go. However, feels like there's a but here. And now that Battlercunt has left the family register, you are father's only male grandchild carrying his blood. Wait, Battler full on got disowned? Sheesh. I know he left the family to go live with his grandparents for reasons the story hasn't really explained yet. I didn't know they full on, like, scratched his name out. You must prudently choose a fitting partner for you. As anyone related to the Ushinomiya family knew, Ava adored George immensely. But that didn't mean she had pampered him. She had been strict with him and raised him into a wonderful boy who wouldn't betray her expectations. Dun dun dun. That's why she treasured him so. Your partner certainly wouldn't be selected based on your parents' profit and loss. I'll bring you a suitable and truly wonderful woman. At this moment, your immaturity might make this seem unpleasant to you. But if you're going to take my advice on anything, listen to me now. And it feels like Ava also sees George as a toy. He is her ticket to potentially controlling the family one day. So yeah, you're not entirely off. Have I ever failed to act in your best interest? No, you haven't. That's enough for now. So, let's go. We're keeping father waiting. Hurry to the mansion. Well, sorry, you two. See you later. George bowed to the two of them, and after bowing once more to Shannon, he dashed off to the mansion. I'll be going with him. Forgive me for interrupting such an entertaining conversation, Jessica-chan. Jessica-san? Shannon-chan? No. Please don't worry about it. Come on, Shannon. Let's go. Yes. It's okay. I'm sure you'll meet someone wonderful soon, too, Jessica-chan. A wonderful person suitable for you. So, if he's the same level as me, you mean a guy with shit grades? Ha ha ha, that kind of pisses me off, ha ha ha. And of course, you too, Shannon-chan. I'm sure that a wonderful man suitable for you will appear. Yes, thank you very much. As Ava giggled and smiled, she approached Shannon's ear with a hand over her mouth, as though she was trying to tell her a secret. Ava, are you going to threaten her? Huh? I'm sure you'll find a perfect match for a lowly servant like yourself. Have you forgotten to be grateful for your education? Know your place, Jesus. That's not what I meant. George is the eldest grandson carrying father's blood. He's a person who may bear the burden of the Ushinomiya family someday in the future. To answer to that expectation, he has studied tirelessly, entered a wonderful college, and is getting wonderful grades. Do you really think you could snatch George away, you uneducated, incompetent, unqualified, uncultured servant? What a beach! Those malicious words all poured into Shannon's ear without spilling a drop. To Shannon, it was like cold water was being poured in there. I didn't mean. I was all whispered to Shannon in secret. And with the same smile as before, Jessica, who could only see Ava's expression, didn't think it was anything other than Ava telling Shannon some embarrassing story about love. When their secret conversation ended, Ava patted Shannon's shoulders as though she was urging her on. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll find a perfect match for a partner. Right? This woman, man. Okay, Jessica-chan, see you later. Yeah, see you later. And make sure you tell me about you and Uncle Hideyoshi next time. No way! Furious Ava laughed loudly and headed back to the entrance hall. Behind Jessica, who was cheerfully waving her hand, Shannon reflected very, very deeply on those words of Ava about knowing her place. Yikes! Alright, give me 1 sec. I want to keep going for just a little bit more, but my cup is empty and I really should have some water, so give me 1 sec. way you gave me push-ups. Terrible. Alright, I just got back. So I will do them in a second. Redeem 12 push-ups. Lovingly. Lovingly. Alright, let me at least get the scene moving a little bit and then I'll do them. It's time for me to take a serious look at how full of myself I've been acting. I forgot. I'm furniture. Furniture isn't human. So, I am a being who must feel gratitude for even being treated like a human. And I am not permitted to wish for anything more. People sometimes develop affection for furniture they're used to using. But that is an emotion on the human side. And the furniture has no right to hope for such a thing. It's enough that furniture serves with simple honesty, day after day. That feeling I got when talking to George Sama and Jessica Sama is the same as a forbidden drug to me. In other words, it may be an emotion I must never experience. Shannon, you've had your head in the clouds for some time now. Do you not feel well? No, my apologies. Natsuhi's words were right on the mark. Even Shannon couldn't believe that she hadn't noticed Natsuhi until she had called. Normally, it was essential that she focus on her cleaning at this time of the day. But she'd spent all her time sighing and hardly making any progress. Even when there aren't any guests around, you must always be alert. Behavior like this is shameful for an Ushinomiya family servant. Yes, ma'am. I will take care from now on. The head and my husband will return very soon. Have you finished cleaning the study? Have you finished cleaning the staircase? My apologies, not yet. Yes, I know. So I had Lunan do it. While you were plodding around cleaning the hallway, she finished cleaning the study and the staircase. That's because, I wanted to clean it properly, so it took some time. Shannon was simple and honest, so she would always carry out her tasks seriously and properly, without any omissions. So, she was always slow with her work. In contrast, Lunan cleverly avoided doing extra work whenever it was possible, so she could complete her jobs with a result that looked almost the same to an outsider, but in a much shorter time. In other words, she was a shrewd employee. Compared to that, it's probably fair to say Shannon wasn't very shrewd at all, talking back to Natsuhi when Natsuhi was in a bad mood. Of course, there was nothing that Natsuhi couldn't stand more than a servant talking back. Damn. Her forehead creased, and she spoke sternly. And yet, her slow, admonishing style of speech was even more terrifying, and finally made Shannon realize she had said the wrong thing. Then perhaps you should aim to do a truly thorough cleaning. Shannon, I order you to clean the reception hall right now. It is an important hall where several pictures treasured by the head are displayed and where honored guests of the Ushinomiya family are welcomed. Clean it thoroughly so that not a speck of dust remains and so that even you are satisfied. Of course, you will finish before the day is out. Until you finish that and report to me, you will not be permitted any food or rest. Understood? Yes, madame. That is good. Servants should endeavor to only use those words. The next time you talk back, your punishment will be even more severe. So with that in mind, engrave those words into your heart.
Damn.
Yes, madame. Thank you for your guidance.
You are welcome.
Behaving as though her headache was troubling her, Natsuki headed off down the corridor. When she couldn't see her anymore, Shannon hung her head and sighed. This was what happened when she had her head in the clouds. Even though I'm bad at everything I do, I should be able to at least carry out the cleaning as well as an average person can. Right? It's because I can't even perform that very well that I'm crying so pathetically. But what's even more shameful is that not only have I been unable to perform a single bit of cleaning well, but just now, when Natsuki was scolding me, I imagined that person appearing and rescuing me. If only George Sama were here, would he casually step in and save me? Surely he'd show up cheerfully, intentionally acting like he didn't know what was going on. Nimbly change the subject and make me forget I'd ever been rebuked by Natsuki. I kept envisioning him suddenly appearing from the other side of the door, or the other end of the hallway. I envisioned the kind of person that would be an appropriate partner for him in a marriage meeting, and I envisioned how unfitting I was for him. Ava clearly told me. It's been repeating over and over in my dreams. You're still as clumsy as always, Nason. Milady has been in a bad mood since this morning. That just now happened because you talked too much when you should have just hung your head in silence. Kanon-kun. Kanon was suddenly there. His footsteps were always quieter than a cat's, and he never left a trace of his presence. He probably could have stood there forever, and she still wouldn't have noticed him. The expression on Kanon's face was one of hatred. He made that expression for Shannon, who didn't know how to do it herself. Madame and Lunon can fall into hell. That person knows where Madame checks and only cleans those areas. Her cleaning just now was like that. I know because I saw. She wasn't really cleaning. She's just the worst kind of parasite leeching off your thorough cleaning. You mustn't use such dirty words. Dirty words pollute your clean soul, Kanon-kun. So at least don't use those words in front of me. Okay? Kanon turned away as though sulking. It was a reaction that hid his true feelings, which was very like Kanon. But I was a little happy. He was getting mad for my sake. Cleaning the reception hub will be tough. I'll help. Thank you. But I was the one Madame ordered, so don't worry. Don't you also have your own work, Kanon-kun? It's a filthy job. My soul was polluted long ago. Kanon then hung his head and bit his lower lip. Just hearing you say you'll help is enough for me. If you don't go back to your own job, then you'll be punished as well. And that would make me sad. Shannon knew Kanon's character well. Sometimes he didn't think enough about himself. If I don't refuse forcefully, he'll help me, even if it means neglecting his own job. Kanon was a little sad that his goodwill had been rejected. But he realized that what he was doing would only hurt her more in the end, and he gave a single, small sigh. Understood. Do your best, Nason. Yes. And I am also partly to blame. You aren't at fault, Nason. No, I am. So go now. Kanonkan's face showed that he still hadn't completely accepted it. But without being any more obstinate, he disappeared. Even though Kanonkan came to give me words of comfort when I was down, even so, I was dejected again, because it wasn't him. That in itself was a sin. It went far beyond any dream the likes of me could be permitted to see. I don't know my place. Shannon, who had neglected breakfast, already felt her concentration begin to waver. But if she did finish up cleaning the reception hall, she wouldn't receive Natsuhi's permission to eat. That cruel Natsuhi had surely told the kitchen something to that effect. I have to respectfully receive Madame's punishment. That's right. My position in the world is furniture. And I've been intoxicated by a dream that's beyond me. This poor girl. Alright, 12 push-ups quickly. Here we go. There we go. Ba 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 ba. I finished cleaning the hallway and went to the reception hall. Maybe my hunger made my nose more sensitive. I could sense a delicious aroma wafting from the kitchen, even though it was far away. And my empty stomach was encouraged even more. Until I finished up here, I wouldn't get any soup. I just had to resolve myself to doing it. Several portraits were hung in the reception hall. One of those portraits was thought to hold a special meaning amongst the servants. It was the portrait of the witch. That wasn't its true name, but everyone in the mansion called it that. The name of the woman with elegant blonde hair, drawn as the subject of that portrait, was Beatrice. It was whispered that she might be the former mistress of Kinzo, the family head. And also that she was the great witch who had given Kinzo the gold of the legend. The witch Beatrice, master of the night on Rokenjima. She was gracious to those who respected her, but she would surely curse those who made light of her. It was in Shannon's character not to neglect rules and beliefs such as those. So she thought of the portrait of her other master as the person herself, and always treated it carefully, treasuring it. And it had begun a part of her daily routine to tell the witch who only existed inside the portrait the secrets of her heart. She was furniture. Furniture doesn't complain. Cannot complain. She had no right to speak her mind about her difficult days. She had no right to open her mouth and say those words. So she at least spoke her mind inside her heart. She spoke her mind inside her heart, using words she couldn't say aloud, and protested to the formless witch. Of course, the witch didn't answer. She didn't console, and she didn't laugh it off. Shannon could only interpret that silence as she liked, as though the witch was responding agreeably. Beatrice-sama, please listen to the story of my worthless self. As Shannon wiped the dust from the witch's portrait, she spoke that inside her heart. I certainly am incompetent and uncultured, just as Ava-sama said. I am not a person, so maybe I have no right to love. But in that case, why was I given a heart that can know love? At that point, Shannon held back her tears for a moment. The sound of the rain, which had started falling along with the chill air in the reception hall, made her feel as though her shabbiness had increased another level. Real furniture doesn't have anything like a heart. Guess who? Hi, Ranger! So they don't have to love people, right? So they don't feel pain. If I'm just another piece of furniture, why do I have a heart? If it's going to be this painful and this harsh, I wish I was never given a heart like this. Is anybody dead? No, but apparently the portrait's talking to us now. I see. So a heart was given to furniture. It would seem that even that man is capable of some quite amusing things every now and then. What? The witch that never answered or laughed answered. And laughed. Oh, Beatrice, we're really in it now. Oh, we sure are. Was it my imagination? Was I hearing things? No, that's wrong. After all, the next words became a voice, and I could hear them. Not with my heart, but with my ears. Humans have continually searched for the elements that make up the world since before the modern era. Oh, this is a jamming piano piece. It's like a very jaunty little piece. I love it. It is said that in ancient times, the Greeks tried explaining the world with the 4 elements of wind, fire, water, and earth. And after that, over several millennia, humans added several elements to those 4, trying to explain the world with several interpretations, such as the 5 elements, the 6 elements, the 7 elements, the 8 elements, and the 12 elements. What happened to 9, 10, and 11? But they were never able to describe the one sole truth that exists, the single element. However, a single man appeared by the guidance of a star and finally explained the single element that makes up the world. Know what it is? Oh, who? Shannon fearfully turned around. Right there, she existed. Not as an illusion, but as reality. The contrast made by the lightning made it clear that this was no mere daydream. It's love, The witch of the portrait elegantly held a golden pipe to her mouth and giggled. She laughed at the ignorance that causes humankind's thoughts to stray, but far from the most simple answer. That man explained everything in the world with love. That is the single element. That man fully explained how the world was constructed with the smallest possible number. How simple and clear, how splendid, exhilarating, pleasant and thrilling, but it's not simple and clean. That year the man was finally born is called the start of the modern era. Jesus Christ? I didn't think she was talking about Jesus. Shannon lost any words to speak. She thought that when first meeting an unknown guest, her first words should be to ask that person's name. But without saying anything, Shannon knew this person's name. And so she refrained. No, surely it would be the greatest disrespect for someone who lived or worked on this island to ask this woman her name. After all, she looks exactly like the portrait. After all, she was the other master of this island, besides Kinzo. Beatrice-sama. Is Beatrice Christian the greatest thread in the history of forums? The better thread. Was Jesus Christ a witch? Or I guess a warlock is what like the male witch is generally called, but yeah. Beatrice-sama. Indeed, I am Beatrice. Even after 1,000 years. I see that people still always give me that look when we first meet. The witch giggled at how Shannon's reaction didn't betray her expectations. Shannon realized that she had met with a being that mustn't be met with and took a step backwards. That's where the wall and the portrait were. So even as she gazed at the witch's portrait was touching her back. She clearly loves messing with people so much. The source of your troubles is love. Love, the single element that makes up this world. And in other words, it is everything in this world. When it is lacking, then your world is lacking too. Damn, why you gotta call me out like that? It is no different from scooping water into a canteen with a hole in it. Even if you scoop and scoop, that internal desert of the heart never fills. It is the original sin that humans are founded upon and everything is made of. Understand? When Adam and Eve put the fruit of knowledge to their lips, love is what they learned of. Because of that, humans were chased out of the garden and became fully human. Which means that knowing love and suffering is what makes one human. You kind-hearted child, you ought to be praised. Now that you have gained this knowledge, you are no longer furniture. You are now human. I recognize that with all the authority of my name. Is it hard for a common person to understand? Very well then. Forgive me. It has been a long time since I have spoken with a human. Allow me to apologize for my talkativeness. Without waiting for a reply from Shannon, Beatrice laughed pleasantly for a while. Perhaps this isn't much by way of an apology, but I would be willing to grant that wish of yours with my power, if you so desire. Huh? The meaning of those words surprised Shannon even more than the witch's sudden appearance. I am offering to bring you and the one you love together. Normally, I would demand something of equal value in return. However, I'm in a good mood, and you have never failed to pay your respects to me in the past. That is something worth rewarding. Is that true? Normally, Shannon would have been shocked and struck dumb by this seemingly impossible guest. However, almost as though she was already under the witch's spell, Shannon responded. With my magic, it would be no trouble at all to arrange for you to be joined with the one you love. Yes, of course. Shannon almost said that without thinking, but held back with her last bit of common sense. After all, this is a witch, a sinister being. The witch Beatrice is clearly trying to slip in through the cracks in my heart and take me prisoner. That sort of temptation, which so many fairy tale picture books warned me about when I was young, is right in front of me now. Fear is also a form of respect. It may be pleasant for me, but will make no progress this way. I may not differ much from the image of a detestable witch that you hold in your mind. However, I do bestow my favor upon those who respect me. Are humans the same? Well, I doubt any human would bestow a favor upon one with such a hostile attitude. My apologies. I didn't mean. Shannon eventually realized how rude she was acting towards this guest, and she finally digested the words that had been spoken to her a short while ago. You are no longer furniture. Now, you are human. As she reflected upon these words, Shannon felt as though the witch understood all her worries. What was that, just now? About a reward? I say that I can arrange for you to be joined with the man who has captured your heart. Think of it as a sign of my gratitude for your diligence in polishing my portrait day after day. Calm yourself. I ask for nothing in return. I am generous. However, though I ask for nothing in return, I do have a request. Liar. Look here. Look, here it comes. Part of Shannon's heart sent her a warning. This is what all those scary picture books she'd read when she was little had warned her about. Do you know of the small torii and shrine that had been constructed on the ocean very near this island, which you can see when you gaze at the cliffs? Shannon immediately remembered it. When you reached Okinawa by boat, there was a torii and a shrine on a reef that was too small to be even called an islet. I'm pretty sure Kumasawa-san told me its history, but I can't remember it well. A traveling shugenka, a kind of holy man, had built it and prayed there or something. Yes, I know about it. But why do you bring it up? I will not explain everything, including the very basics, to one ignorant of demons. Simply put, it's causing me trouble. The truth is, there's a mirror kept inside that shrine. I want you to break it. It was quite a suspicious request. Shannon didn't know the details, but anything stored inside a shrine would have to be something sacred. And she wants me to break it? Why would a witch ask a human for help instead of doing it herself? There was no need for Shannon to speak her thoughts aloud. Beatrice responded to Shannon's reasonable doubts before Shannon could give her answer. That magical power of that mirror opposes my own. I cannot explain it well with human words. For example, let us speak of the differences between utensils. That mirror is a fork, and my power is a spoon. Or sorry, and my power is soup. You cannot drink soup with a fork, correct? Not with that attitude, you can't. If only the resistance of that mirror were gone, I could produce a spoon ideal for drinking soup. After that, I could drink soup as I pleased, and even dig my way out of a rocky prison. I could even gouge someone's eyes out with it. Was that not the phrase? I don't know what you're talking about. If my poor education is to blame, I apologize. It comes down to this. If you take action and break that annoying mirror for me, I shall grant your wish as a reward. I am in quite a good mood today. You may even change your wish and receive all the gold I bestowed upon Kinzo, if you so desire. I refuse. What? When she heard Shannon's words, Beatrice realized for the first time that her expectations had been betrayed. If you have a reason, tell me. If there has been some misunderstanding, I shall resolve it. I don't really understand the reason, but up until now, this island has been at peace and nothing bad has happened. So even if I don't break the mirror, the peace that has existed until today should continue into the future. Yes, you are quite right. It's just as you say. If you don't break the mirror, the same unbreakable days that have passed until now will continue until tomorrow and the next day. Why don't I give you an absolute guarantee? I shall stake my name, Beatrice, on it. The unbreakable days before this time will continue into tomorrow and the next day. And for eternity, in perpetuity, I completely ruined that. No one's gonna believe in Beatrice now. Shannon felt overwhelmed by an eerie illusion. The mirror probably existed for the purpose of restraining the witch. So, if Shannon broke it, the person who stood to gain was supposedly the witch herself. And yet, Shannon felt somehow that she had to do it for her own sake. It felt like some premise had been switched around. I will do nothing but grant you a chance to bring your feelings to fruition. It's up to you to decide whether you'll break it or not. If you break it, I shall grant your wish. If you don't, the tomorrows that came before today will continue for all eternity. Your wish will not be granted for all time. Do you understand? Do you see what I mean? The witch was speaking. She was pressing Shannon, saying she must break the mirror if she ever wanted to be reunited with George. It was a declaration that Shannon's feelings would never be brought to fruition unless she broke it. Please, stop it. I don't want to hear something like that. It was never my goal to cause you pain. Oh well. When love leads to madness, this is when we see the true charm of humanity. Enjoy that emotion to your heart's content. However, if you wish to borrow my power, feel free to break that mirror at any time. And then you may yell my name and awaken me. I will certainly keep my promise. This way, you should have no complaints, right? I won't force you to decide right now. Easy, is it not? Was it really such an easy thing to do? No, it certainly wasn't. Shannon was burning with infatuation and worried by love. Being tempted constantly and eternally with a way out was truly a cruel trial. A cruel angel's thesis? I won't set a time limit on that promise, but there is a time limit on the magic that can grant your wish. And limit is not of my making. The one you love will decide it himself. You see my meaning? No, I don't understand. When the one you care for finds the partner to whom he ought to pledge his love, that limit will be reached. I may be a witch, but I am no demon. I possess no magic to tear apart a pair of those who love each other. The one you love will soon be attending a marriage meeting, yes? You may have stronger feelings for that man than anyone else in the world. However, that doesn't mean you are the most suitable partner for him, does it? I know with whom he will be having his marriage meeting. That girl is the most suitable for Ushiromiya George in the entire world. She came from a good school, achieved good grades, and possesses both composure and thoughtfulness. She is more beautiful than you, wiser than you, more suitable than you. How can an ignorant, incompetent, uncultured girl like you be suitable? You know better than anyone. There are none less suitable than you. Even imagining that you and Ushiromiya George could be joined is sinful and foolish, foolish, foolish. Know your place. Have you forgotten to be grateful for your education? Know your place. George is the eldest grandson carrying father's blood. He's a person who may bear the burden of the Ushiromiya family someday in the future. To answer to that expectation, he has studied tirelessly, entered a wonderful college, and is getting wonderful grades. Do you really think you could snatch George away, you uneducated, incompetent, unqualified, uncultured servant? Stop it! Don't bully Shannon! Who the hell are you? At that time, Shannon held her head, trying to protect her heart from the blade of Beatrice's words. Kanan ran in front of her. Hi, Kuro! You came in at a very emotionally charged time. I apologize if my shouting scared you. Kanan didn't care who this woman was. If this was an enemy tormenting Shannon, whom he loved and respected as a sister, nothing else mattered. Kanan-kun, stay back! This person is... It seemed Kanan also realized that the being standing before him was the witch of the portrait. And also that she was someone to be feared. I simply wish to give Shannon a chance to claim her reward. But it seems I said too much and ended up hurting her. I must apologize for that. But I shall leave behind that promise as a reward to you. If you need my power, call me at any time. I have already told you how. Well then, let us call it a night. Hostile gazes may be pleasant, but they damage your beauty, yes? Disappear! I don't know who you are, but you're threatening Shannon! Don't ever show yourself again! Kanan's words seemed to deeply annoy the witch. Oh, watch your language, lowborn. I may be gracious to those who respect me, but I am brutal to those who do not. While she still smiled, the witch's face began to twist itself. Then, an oppressive feeling that couldn't be noticed with any of the five senses gradually filled the room. Even though they couldn't understand it, they immediately realized there was something terrifying. When you swim in the ocean, and something large passes by in the water beneath you, you want to escape to land even before you learn what it is. That's exactly what this was like. They do feel kind of corny, I get what you mean. Please stop, Beatrice-sama. Kanan-kan is still a child. I apologize for his language. Kanan placed his body between the witch and Shannon. There was a tense sweat on his forehead. At times, the witch certainly held Kanan's fate in the palm of her hand. She didn't even need to lift a finger. She held a grasp on his fate so tight that a single twist of her smile could easily crush it. Kanan understood that as well, so he started sweating. His knees felt weak. However, Beatrice abruptly released that feeling of tension and laughed. Very well. If you ask, I will forgive you. Just this once. Kanan, is it? In deference to her, I shall forgive you tonight and send you off. You ought to thank me. Well then, let us call it a night. In parting, I shall leave you with a small souvenir. Hold out the palm of your left hands, you two. When Beatrice grinned broadly and snapped her fingers, their left hands stretched out in front of them against their will, and their palms opened. It was a strange sensation, as though only their left hands now belonged to someone else. It felt like only their left hands had become puppets, which were being pulled by strings hanging down from the ceiling. What are you trying to do? Kanan resisted, but he couldn't retract his hand of his own free will. Don't struggle. It will be over soon. When Beatrice held her pipe aloft, a gold-colored sparkling dust came out of the smoke and hovered in the air. That sparkle eventually became several gold butterflies. Beautiful butterflies danced freely throughout the reception hall, forming a fantastical and beautiful world. And two of those butterflies alighted on the palms of Shannon and Kanan's hands. Ouch! There was a sharp pain, as though they had been burned. When the two of them tried to examine their palms, that hold on their bodies, which had been there a second ago, had gone without a trace. A mark? What is this? There was now a tiny burn mark on the palm of her hand, and it was shaped like a butterfly. What is this supposed to be? Apparently Kanan had the same mark on his hand. He stared at the witch hatefully. A simple greeting. I have no hidden motive. It is nothing more than a bruise, so it will heal in just a few days. There's not even any need to care for it. I made that mark so that tomorrow you will not forget that I truly was here and that I made a promise with you. An encounter with me can be quite shocking. Sometimes, when the next morning comes, people try to think of such an encounter as a dream or an illusion. You ought to consider this slowly and carefully, Shannon. And you should probably take a good rest, look at my mark tomorrow morning, and try considering it again. I shall not coerce you in any way. You should freely decide your future by your own will. Still, to think that one could obtain the object of their desire for such a small price. Surely, this would annoy to no end the great artists who write plays about blighted love. Welcome back, Pluto. Well then, let us meet again when the chance arises. I'm entertained to have a conversation again after so much time. Goodbye, furniture. Just body crumbled like smoke and blew away. It was golden smoke. No. A cloud of gold butterflies. They scattered in all directions inside the reception hall, leaving a golden splash before disappearing into thin air. After that, only the cold silence was left. It was so silent, and made both of them think they might have been daydreaming until just a moment ago, which was why the witch had left those marks. She had done so to make it impossible for them to think of this as a daydream. As Shannon and Kanan remembered the butterfly bruises on their hand and the pain they'd felt when they'd been made, kept standing still, stunned. And from that moment on, Shannon was tormented by days of suffering and conflict. Ta-da! Yay! That seems like a good stopping point. Game, let me save. There we go. What? What a perfect place to come back to. Beatrice is so cool yet silly at the same time. You know, that's a good way to look at it. Alright. Maybe we'll come back on Sunday. I don't think I have the schedule, excuse me, for Sunday done yet. I will check. Alrighty. Ta-da! Oh, what? Wait, I have... Hang on. There we go. I was like, wait! I thought I got rid of all the extra sources. Apparently not. Whoops-a-doodle. Alright. That's gonna be it for me then. I will find a raid for us momentarily. But, as a reminder, there was a schedule change. I'm not streaming tomorrow. Iduna has been begging and pleading to have an IRL hangout because it's been like 6 months, something like that. Work got absolutely bananas. She also went through a whole lot of real life stuff, so we haven't actually seen each other in person in a while. We talk every day, basically, but yeah. So I will go see Iduna tomorrow. Maybe get some more photos of Boo Boo and Whis Whis, her familiars, I mean her subordinates, I mean her cats. Tell Iduna the beans say hi. I will! Gosh, I forgot to tell you guys this. Iduna hit me in the feels yesterday because she, I didn't know this. She's apparently been saving every single art piece of me. Like, that's been, like, commissioned of me or that I got commissioned. She's been hoarding them all. I'm like, oh, ah. She has them all in a folder. I'm like, my feels. Comfy day? Definitely a comfy day, I'd say. And yes, I will have lots of fun. Usually we end up playing video games together. Cute? Yeah. We do that old-fashioned thing, you know, like before, online co-op was a thing where, like, you know, one person plays the game, the other person's got the walkthrough going. I liken it to going on a road trip. One person's driving, the other person's responsible for the map. We tend to do that a lot. Thank you for the stream. Excellent. I'm glad you guys had fun. Nice, right? We've been playing through Tales of Zestiria that way recently. Not sure if we'll keep going with that. Sometimes we just randomly pick a game. So I guess we'll find out. I guess we will find out. Helped you get through work? Oh, I'm glad. Pet the pep and Mogu for you? Of course. Of course, of course. Alright, let's see who we can raid. Is Toko streaming? Yeah! Toko streaming! I was just thinking, Toko's been on a break for a bit. I was like, is Toko streaming? I had to scroll all the way to the bottom, but there he is! Yay! Playing Liza P. For 4 hours? Toko, you started it so much earlier than usual. Alright, let's go see Toko! Bestie me! Wrapping up Pride Month by going to go see a fellow gay cat. It's perfect. Alright, there is Raid, and there is Discord. If we've got any lurkers you want to follow and keep up with us when we're not streaming, bye-bye, chippity, bye-bye! Alrighty, that's gonna be it for me. So, if it's daytime where you are, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Nighty nuggets! And if it's nighttime, have a great rest when you head on off to bed. Until next time, take care of yourself. Wash your face, brush your teeth, eat a good food, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.